In this episode of Teslacam Stories.
Jump in! Honda bumped! Honda bumped! Yeah! Honda bumped! Honda bumped!
Wham, bam, Teslacam. I hope you're satisfied.
Barry was driving his Model 3 in Savannah, Georgia. He just exited I-95 and was slowing down for the traffic light up ahead. After stopping behind a Toyota RAV4, Barry suddenly felt a large impact. When he looked to his right, he saw the tires of a Honda crawling up the side of his Tesla. If we take a look at the right repeater camera, we can see the same bizarre sight that Barry saw. No airbags were deployed in the Tesla, but the car did go into accident mode. Barry got out and talked with the driver of the Honda. She was pretty rattled, but everyone involved was okay. They proceeded to inspect his car, and he mentioned to her that this was going to be a very expensive repair bill. He sent the Teslacam videos to the police and his insurance company. The latter was quick to determine that the Tesla was a total loss. The cost to repair the damages was greater than the price of a new Model 3, so they cut Barry a check for $52,000 US. Okay guys, here it comes, hashtag Honda Bump. We actually get a lot of comments that the hashtag Honda Bump joke is getting old, but it's not our fault that we get so many videos of Honda drivers causing accidents. We even ran a poll asking what you would be most afraid of to see in your rearview mirror. Even though the options included some truly scary cars, Honda won the poll in a landslide with 79% of over 19,000 votes. Still don't believe us? I guess you'll just have to see for yourself. Roll the Honda clips. Just a few hours after starting the poll, we got a message from Tommy who had voted for Honda, and an hour later, he got hashtag Honda Bumped. He was on his way to work when he stopped behind a bus at a red light. That's when a Honda bumped into him. After they both pulled over, he assumed they would inspect the damage and exchange contact information so they could file insurance reports, but that's not what happened. First, the driver of the Honda got out and inspected the damage to her bumping machine. Next, she walked over to Tommy, who was inspecting the visible damage to his Tesla. Before he even had a chance to say a word, she told him that there's no damage to my car or your car. He told her there was a clear dent and that the Tesla has many sensors and cameras. He also said he would like to have his vehicle inspected for further damage. Her response was, "Really, dude? Really?" Without another word, she walked back to her car and drove off, leaving him speechless. He figured that he had everything on camera and the footage would speak for itself. He went straight to the police station where the cops were very impressed with the Tesla. The officer who helped him thought it was awesome how the car had recorded the entire incident. The officer ran the woman's plates and gave her a call right away. She was very rude to him on the phone, but eventually he was able to get all of her information. The officer told Tommy that this should be an easy win for his insurance provider. Sean went on a short trip to see Warragamba Dam in New South Wales, Australia, which supplies most of Sydney's water. It was a busy weekend and people were everywhere sightseeing. As Sean and his family were walking back to the car to leave, they heard a loud crash. They ran to see what had caused the sound and saw that a Honda Civic had crashed into their Model 3. Hashtag Honda Bump. To make a long story short, a man had been teaching his wife to drive. The big yellow L on the hood of the Civic is required in Australia for people who are still learning how to drive. She had pressed the accelerator pedal instead of the brake, driven over the curb, and slammed into the Tesla. After the shock wore off, Sean says the couple was very apologetic. They exchanged insurance details and went their separate ways. Luckily, the Tesla was still drivable. The damage was completely covered by insurance and didn't cost him a cent, but because of parts availability issues, no doubt exacerbated by the pandemic, the repairs took 3 months to complete. They ended up replacing the trunk lid and the rear bumper cover. Oh no, a Honda Civic in the rearview camera. Phew, it's only parked. David had parked his Model 3 in front of a Honda in Redondo Beach, California. At 4 a.m., a white Honda Accord turned left after stopping at a red light. They then proceeded into the parking lane. The Accord rear-ended a white Honda Civic, which in turn caused it to #Honda bump into the Tesla. The Tesla's alarm and sentry mode activated, but David never heard the alarm even though he was right by the window where it happened. He didn't realize anything had happened until he found a police report on his car windshield the following morning. Both the Civic and Accord were totaled. His Tesla sustained minimal damage to the bumper, but the bumper cover needed to be replaced due to a huge scratch. The cost was around $1,200 and the repair took 2 weeks. The Accord driver was taken to the hospital, but David never found out what happened to them. They didn't have insurance, so David had to file an uninsured motorist claim with his insurance provider. David sent the Sentry Mode video to his insurance company as well as to the Civic owner's insurance company. David's insurance covered the repairs to his Tesla after they told him it was an open and shut case. Gus was driving westbound on Florida State Road 836. He was parallel with Miami International Airport when a gray Honda Civic passed him on the right at high speed. The Honda driver immediately cut in front of Gus, losing all control in the process. This caused his vehicle to spin across all 5 lanes of the highway. Gus says he doesn't know how the driver didn't hit anything or anyone, although his ego was probably a bit damaged. Gus's Tesla was on autopilot, and surprisingly, it seemed to know that everything was going to be okay, since it just slowed down enough to avoid the incident and moved a bit to the left. That's got to be that special #Honda bump avoidance code in autopilot that we keep hearing rumors about. Now, sometimes people tell us that the #Honda bump phenomenon is just a result of the fact that there are so many Hondas on the road. With so many out there, they're bound to be bumping into things. Maybe that's true, but we've seen some pretty interesting variations that have convinced us otherwise. For example, check out these disguised #Honda bumps. Audi in Canada sent us this video where a Honda took a right turn waiting for just the right time to lunge into traffic, only to be hit by a Mazda. You can't fool us, Audi, that's still a #Honda bump. Okay, we'll leave Honda alone for a while. Some of you guys get really upset about it, saying that BMW drivers are even worse. Justin was driving his Model 3 in Carthage, Texas, when a BMW Z3 ran a red light, resulting in a collision with a car that had already started driving through their green light. The sun was really bright in the direction the BMW driver was traveling, as it was close to the horizon and about to set, so Justin thinks that the driver might not have been able to see the traffic light very well. Some of you have told us that the semi-trucks are the real bumpmobiles. As this video from Randy shows, you might have a point. He was driving his Model 3 in stop-and-go traffic in Pasadena, California. A semi-truck without a trailer signaled right to enter the lane in front of Randy. The only problem with that was that there was already a Toyota in the space. The Toyota driver signaled to pull over, and so did the truck, at first. Once the car had pulled to the right and the truck driver saw a clear spot to enter traffic, they pulled back out and sped away. Randy tried to follow the truck, but with traffic already backed up, it was difficult to catch up to him. Luckily, the driver's side camera had captured the truck's approach, and their license plate number was visible on the sun visor. Interestingly, the truck behind him seemed to be related to them in some way, as they both shared a number sticker on the front windshield. Randy was able to get home about 15 minutes later and copy the footage to a thumb drive. He then delivered it to the local California Highway Patrol office in Altadena, California, just a few miles from where the accident happened. The CHP officer was happy to take the footage and Randy's info and told him they'd try to match up the plates of the vehicles involved to the corresponding collision report. Kevin was driving his Model 3 to work in Grand Prairie, Texas. He was just merging onto I-20 eastbound and changing lanes. That's when a Toyota almost sideswiped him. Next, they crossed 2 lanes of traffic and ended up running into the back of a truck. The Toyota never even slowed down and just left the scene. Kevin called 911 and reported the accident, letting them know he had video footage. The police said they would contact him, but they never did. He also gave the owner of the truck a copy of the video. This submitter was driving his Model 3 in Chicago, Illinois. He was trying to change lanes, but the woman in the Kia wouldn't let him in. This kicked off a little road rage between them. At the next light, the woman rolled down her window and, yeah, it's not hard to read her lips here. It looks like she says something like, "Rock you up, let's go to the little beach?" I'm pretty good at reading lips, aren't I? She then got out of her vehicle and, let's just say, she didn't live up to the motto on her t-shirt, which reads, "Make happy." She pulled out some object and tried to break the window of the Tesla. Luckily, she didn't succeed, and eventually she got back into her car, but she kept talking about going to the beach and rocking things up. It's easy to laugh at incidents like this, but just remember how quickly this situation escalated the next time you feel like road raging. Okay, enough with the bumping and the hitting, let's see some racing. For that, we need to head over to the Philippines.
Burn that shit up.
This is actually the first video we've received from the sunny islands in the east. It comes from Lim, who owns a Model X Performance. When his friend got a McLaren MP412C, they decided to put them to the test in a friendly drag race. The Model X crushed the McLaren. Lim's friend couldn't believe it, so they went for a second run. After racing, Lim took his friend out for a test drive in the Tesla, and he was very pleased with the experience. Steve had parked his car in Carolina Beach, North Carolina. When he got back to his car the following morning, he found this Sentry Mode recording. Some interested passers-by got lasered by Sentry Mode. We're not sure what they were planning on doing to the Tesla, but the lasers seemed to scare them off. Jesse was driving his 1-week-old Model 3. Don't worry guys, nothing bad happens in this clip. We've seen comments recommending that new Tesla owners leave their cars parked for the first few weeks, since many seem to be involved in accidents in the first week or two of ownership. That's not what happened to Jesse. He was out driving and caught this large lightning strike in the sky. Rumor has it this was Thor's reaction to Elon Musk's latest tweet. Anthony had parked in Crestview, Florida when Sentry Mode on his Model 3 caught some action. Here we see some shoplifters filling their car with stolen goods. While they were at it, the store manager came out and confronted them. This sent them on the run. They jumped back in their vehicle while a store employee got out a camera and started recording them. While making their escape, they jammed their shopping cart into a Chevy that was parked in front of Anthony, causing damage to their own vehicle. The store manager contacted the police, and Anthony submitted his Sentry Mode footage to aid in their investigation. The police officer was impressed by the Teslacam footage and was glad to hear that it's a standard feature in all Teslas, which could help law enforcement in future investigations. This submitter had parked his Model X behind his grandma's house in Portugal. The car was parked properly, but for some reason, these two kids decided to scratch his Tesla. The submitter arrived 3 minutes later and found the scratch and this Sentry Mode clip. He has no idea who these kids are, and he's never had any interaction with them. They were laughing while scratching the Tesla. They seem like really friendly dudes. The submitter had the Tesla repainted only 3 days prior to this, and now he has to make another appointment. He filed a police report, but he doesn't have a lot of faith that they'll do anything about it, even though he has clear video evidence. The whole thing is just a hassle, and the repair bill will be expensive. He just wants to have these guys held accountable, and he'd like to ask why they did this to him. If you know anything about this incident or who these people are, send us an email and we'll forward it to the submitter. Thanks for watching. See you all next Sunday.
Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Cybertruck? My friends all drive diesel, I must make amends.